And welcome, everybody. I'm Phoenix Rising Star, and welcome to the Angel Healing Circle that we offer monthly. Usually it's every second or third Saturday, but next month I'm just going to give you a heads up. We are offering it on Friday, September 9th, just because all my Saturdays suddenly got crazy. So just put that in your schedule if this is something you like to attend on a regular basis. And if you're new to this, don't worry, I'll catch you up on what we do. Today's topic is healing an overstimulated empathic response. And for those of you that haven't followed this much, at the beginning of the year, I sit down with the angels and I plan the entire year. And so when it comes to things like the Angel Healing Circle, I say to them, what topics would you like to offer? Because it's not my idea. And believe me, I would never have come up with some of these ideas, but they've always been right on, very timely, and perfect for those people that are needing that. And so when they came up with this topic, I thought, oh my, this is like kind of heavy duty, right? Especially in August. In North America, in August, that's kind of like summer, is still at full tilt, and we haven't started winding down yet. And I'm not sure people are going to want to know that, but they're like, oh no, no, believe us, this is really timely, and it is timely. I mean, people are stressed to the max, right? And we're feeling it, we're seeing it, we're knowing it, and not knowing what to do about it. And that's why this is so essential. It gives you a tool in your toolbox for when you start to suspect that you have an over empathic response. It's been stimulated. So I sat down with the angels last night and I said, okay, so just give me a heads up as to how we're going to do this, because I really I don't know that I know enough to be able to help people to get through this. And they were really good. That from the angelic kingdom, everything is so simple. So they said, "Oh, it's very easy. First, you're going to help them understand if they have an overstimulated response, empathic response. What does it look like if they do have that? And then where does it come from? And then you just prepare them for us coming in and doing all the work." And I'm like, well, that's very easy. I really like that. So that's, welcome to the world of the angels and the divine, where everything really is easy and nothing is too hard for them and nothing is impossible for them. So even if you are dealing with really long-standing trauma of any kind that has triggered your over empathic response, that can be healed. You don't have to feel like, oh, I'll never get over this. No, no, no. From the angelic kingdom, from the divine, from source energy, they just want you to know everything is possible. So I invite you to really embrace that today as you are listening to this, because and operating with this, really taking it in and following it and allowing yourself to live and do this work, because it really isn't work when we're working with the divine. It's very simple, it's very easy, it's very loving. That's how you know it's the divine, and it makes a difference, an immediate difference. Now, will everything magically go away instantly? No, but it didn't happen instantly either. Your overstimulated empathic response has been building for some time. So, we take a layer off and then you show up in the world and you go, okay, I'm different, except for this. Okay, let's take that layer off. Okay, I'm different, except for that. Okay, let's take that layer off. And that's the easiest way for us to heal, because then the brain doesn't shut us down and say, oh, this is too much, I can't handle this, you're too weird, you're too woo-woo. And so by doing it in baby steps, it becomes acknowledgeable, and you're able to handle the change better. So that's kind of the upshot of what we're doing in these monthly meetings with our angels and divine helpers. And we are loosely basing this on the meditations from the Hollow Bone of Healing and adapting them to our topic. So always we start from that place of love, because love is what heals, and it heals everything. And we are inviting in divine love to the best of our ability. And I realize that for some of you, that's really hard to deal with. And so just do the best you can. I have found some ways in the last couple of years that have helped people to get into a deeper place than they ever thought possible. And let's see if that works for you. And if you did nothing else but just that loving part of the meditation, that would be perfect, and you will receive some healing from that. We are going to go into it a little deeper so that you can truly, the angels and the divine can truly focus on healing your overstimulated empathic response. And always from the place of love, and always gently and without having to relive trauma. Just had to say those things to get us started. All right, so how do you know if you have an overstimulated empathic response? Well, I wrote down what the angels were saying because I thought I'll never remember all this, but it really makes so much sense. Do you find yourself crying easily, especially when you're seeing or hearing something that's sad, bad, painful, traumatic, or traumatizing, worrisome? You know, whether you're watching the evening news or you're seeing a video of something that actually happened on the street corner, or maybe it's just a movie that isn't, it's fiction or whatever, but if you find yourself crying easily from something like that, that's probably from an overstimulated empathic response. If you tend to attach to either soap operas or storybooks, or this is so funny, storybook characters or movie actors' reactions. So, like, you watch it and you're putting yourself in their shoes and you're like, oh my God, what would I do? I could never do this. I can't handle this. And you start sweating profusely, and maybe you're crying, or maybe you're traumatized just by, what you're seeing or what you're experiencing there on movies or videos or even podcasts, right? These can indicate that you have an overstimulated empathic response. And then maybe you have a tendency to want to save or rescue people, animals, trees, plants, whatever it is. And there's nothing wrong with the desire to help. That comes from a beautiful place within you that is very loving and kind. But when you go to extremes to want to rescue everyone and everything, that is probably as a result of your overstimulated empathic response. And where does all of this come from? How do you get an overstimulated empathic response? Well, it's from your own pain, right? Your own pain that you have experienced in this lifetime or others, and I'll get into that in a minute, really has it's unresolved pain that has been with you, maybe for a long time, maybe just recently, and it hasn't been healed. And so what we do is we project it onto others, whether they're storybook characters or movie actors or, animals that seem to be skinny and scrawny and hurt, and people that are left on this side of the road or kicked out of their apartments and they have no place to go. That kind of stuff can just it brings up our own pain. And so what we do is we project that onto everybody else must be suffering as much as we are, right? Now, it may not be the case. That is an assumption. And it reminds me of a story I read about the sea turtles, and the sea turtles come up and they lay their eggs on the sand. And then when the turtles hatch, then they have to make their way to the ocean. And it's kind of a dangerous time because all the birds of prey are aware of this. They wait for this. And so do the other animals that would prey upon baby turtles. And so there were some very kind people that when the turtles were starting to hatch, they went out there and they waved away all the seabirds and the birds of prey and the animals of prey because they thought, okay, we're going to save these turtles. But what they didn't realize is the first wave of turtles that hatches, that's exactly what they're meant to do. They're meant to draw away the prey from the rest of the eggs and the rest of the nests. And so when there are no more birds of prey around, then the rest of the turtles, they all start hatching and coming out because that's what they do. And then there was a slaughter. In this particular case, there was a slaughter because they'd waved away the birds, they kept away the birds of prey, and under the best of intentions. But when it came time then, because it was so still and the rest knew it was time to hatch, then they all got slaughtered because the birds of prey hadn't had their first wave. So sometimes out of our best of intentions of saving or wanting to rescue, we're projecting our own pain to the point where we're like not paying attention to nature in its own divine fashion, or the fact that maybe some people need to experience some pain in order to learn from it. Who are we to assume that they don't need that, right? Okay, so this comes from our own pain, and it comes from experiences in our current lifetime. Certainly, it could be from birth onward, right? And that gets stored in what we call our cellular memory. Cellular memory is a record of all of our experiences, our good ones and our bad ones. But our good ones never get in our way. Those are the joyful ones we want more of, you know, the loving ones, the kind ones. We want more of that. But the painful, traumatic ones, if we don't know how to heal them, and if we don't know what to do with them, we push them down, we pretend they don't exist, we ignore them, we try to just, numb ourselves so we're not feeling that. And what happens is then that it just keeps coming up. It doesn't want to be denied, it wants to be healed. And it comes up for healing, and it attracts more traumatic circumstances to us because it's the law of attraction. We're broadcasting that trauma and we're attracting it back. So when it's healed, you are broadcasting healing from that trauma. You're broadcasting something that's on a higher level, right? That is more encouraging to appropriate relationships and loving and kind people in your life and more abundance and, all those good things, right? So it's essential that we heal our cellular memory, which may be one of the things that your divine helpers are going to do today. And if so, I'll share with you how that works. Now, we can also hold in our cellular memory memories that aren't even ours from this lifetime. Maybe it's from a past life. Maybe it's a past life trauma that we didn't know how to heal then, so we brought it in here. And it keeps coming up in weird ways. And we think, where did this come from? Why am I having this response? This is so crazy. And it can appear like a phobia, like a fear of water, and like there's no known cause for you to feel like you're going to drown, but you have this intense fear that keeps you from going into the water. So something like that can be an example of a past life cellular memory that you're living with. Fear of flying, when maybe you've never had a problem with flying, but you just have this intense fear that you're going to die if you do. That kind of stuff can be an example of past life cellular memory. But it can also be a memory that really comes to your awareness, like being burned at the stake or stoned as a witch or, things like that. So these are the kinds of cellular traumas that really aren't from this lifetime, but they are ours because we experienced them in another lifetime. Another kind of cellular memory would be the ancestral kind, right? Something you didn't even experience, but it's in your DNA, and so the memory of it is there. A perfect example of this, I was reading this fascinating book, and it did this experiment with people that were children of Holocaust survivors. And the survivors from the Holocaust had been in camps, but they didn't have any children at that time. They just had that experience, being like between 18 and 24. They survived the camps, they went on to get married, have children, and their children, at the very age where their parents had gone into the camps, started having these cellular memory, terrors and remembrances of the camps when they hadn't even been there. But it was from their DNA that they were having this memory. And I've heard other people talk about, someone had this traumatic car accident at the age of 21, and it took her a long time to recover. And her daughter, who wasn't even born when she was 21, when she was born and then became 21, also had a severe car accident, and it took her a long time to recover. This is the kind of stuff that our cellular memory can recreate because it's there and it's ready to be healed, right? That's why we're here. That's why we're here. That's why the divine is here. That's why the angels are here to help us heal this, because it sounds like it should be so challenging. And it's not when we work with the divine and not when we work with the angels. And we are asking for our highest and best helpers. Now, when we ask for our highest and best, What does that mean exactly? Well, think about energy, and in our 3D world here, we have a pyramid of energy. And at the base part of the pyramid is where you're going to find the most common energy that's out there. It's the stuff that's a little chaotic. It's the stuff that makes you not want to walk into a crowded supermarket or hang out with people that look a little shifty, because you never know what's going to happen there. That's not what we're talking about with when we're working with the divine. We don't want to work with that. We want to go straight to the top of that pyramid, because at the top of the pyramid of energy here, that's where you find the angels and the guides and the ascended masters and the spirit of love, the spirit of light, spirit of compassion, high consciousness beings. That's where they all hang out. Those are the only ones I want to work with. I don't know about you, but when we hold that intention, that those are the only ones we're working with, those are the only ones that can come in. Nobody else is allowed to come in. And the angels explained to me that that's a universal law that all beings honor. I don't know about you, but that made me feel really safe and secure, and I've never ever had a problem since I've adopted that and shared that with others. We only get our highest and best when that's what we're asking for. And what do they bring to us? Whatever's for our highest and best. And we don't always know what that is. We can assume, we can say, well, I want that trauma healed now, but maybe you find out where it came from. And maybe there's more healing of the belief systems around that originating event that you weren't even aware of. Or maybe there's more healing around the characters that you have drawn into your life that are replicating some of these things, right? We don't know what our highest and best is, but you will know it when it does happen, and you will agree, this is clearly for my highest and best. My favorite example of highest and best and not knowing what that is and knowing it when it happens is when my sister asked me for help because she was really struggling with she wasn't getting a diagnosis and she was struggling with health problems. And finally I said, do you want a session? And she said, yes. And so I sent her a session. I couldn't do it in person because we don't live in the same area. And I sent it to her and I called her the next day and I said, how are you doing? And she said, well, you're going to be disappointed. And I said, no, I'm not. How are you? And she said, I'm not better. And I said, well, what are you? And she said, well, I've decided it's my meds. Every doctor just keeps putting me on meds, and I think it's all messing up my system. And I think that's where the real problem's coming from. And I think I need to sit down with my doctor and figure this out. And I went, oh, that is clearly for her highest and best, because she became her best health advocate. No matter what avenue she follows in the future, she will always be the one to stand up and say, let's work this out together, where she wasn't doing that before. And had her symptoms magically disappeared, which they could have, what would she have learned about that? She would not be empowered to be her own best health advocate. She would have said, well, that was a nice session, and gone on with her life, right? So when the highest and best happens, you know it. You will know it. And I'll tell you what, that has served her so well in the last year and a half since that happened. It's made a huge difference. She's no longer afraid to talk to doctors. She no longer puts them on a pedestal and believes that they know everything, because she knows that they don't know everything. Nobody does. And that's why we call on the divine, because the divine knows how to do everything. Okay, so we're asking for our highest. We're starting from a place of love today. We're asking to work only with our highest and best. And we're asking to receive our highest and best. And at that point, I become really quiet so that you can have your own rich experience. Now, some of you will have already been asleep, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually really good. It's healthy. It's healing. And it means that your mind is out of the way so that you can receive the healing, the deep cellular healing that you need. So don't worry if you go to sleep. You'll have the recording and you will be able to listen to it as many times as you need. And every time you listen to it, another layer is going to come away and you're going to feel better each time. So I do encourage you to listen to this more than once. Let's see, I kind of lost my train of thought there. So, okay. So you might sleep. You might go into your own twilight zone, which just means you're in your own happy place and you have no idea what's going on. you might have a really clear idea of what's going on. You may be receiving some insights and messages that are just exactly what you need to know for whatever it is. And you may be very aware of receiving healing or not. You can have healing without feeling it, definitely. And you may be aware of it. Some people are, some people aren't. So just allow this to be what it is for you, knowing that you are receiving your highest and best. And if it's too hard to hold that energy during the time we're together, listen to it on your own time when you're relaxed and no distractions, and you'll probably have a better response to it. And let's see, what else do I need to say to you? Just allow yourself to know that you are going to be receiving your highest and best. Sometime in the next 24, 48 hours, you will have that realization of what this has done for you. So at that point, so I've turned you loose at that point to have your own rich adventure. And then when the angels say, okay, that's enough for now, even if the healing continues, I'll be asking you to come back into your body at that point. And if you don't want to share, that's fine. You don't have to. You can just stay in your own happy place, but then you might want to end the meeting at that point or leave the meeting at that point, because I will invite people to share. I find that it helps people to articulate it, to make it more real, to help them with things that maybe they didn't understand what it was. And it helps those that hadn't thought about it or maybe didn't remember that part of their experience to deepen their experience. So I find it's helpful, but not everybody wants to do that, and I get that. I totally get that. And it's optional. Now, I will be sending you the original recording from this, and then I'm going to fancy it up, but I won't have time to do that until Monday. So by fancying it up, I mean, I can take out your comments if you don't want your comments used. I would like to add the meditation to music so that it kind of makes it a deeper, richer experience, because I use delta brainwave music that takes you into that DNA healing level. And I would like to put it on YouTube, because I know that this topic is really invaluable for so many people. So if you're not wanting to share into those conditions, I totally get it. You can send me an email and share privately or ask questions privately. That's just fine. But if you do want to share, just know that it eventually will be on YouTube, unless you tell me don't put that in. And I can cut anything out, so it's not a problem. Okay, if you have questions, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can put something in the chat. Either way is perfectly all right. You guys are pretty silent. There's been nothing in the chat so far, which I think is really amazing, but it's all good. I think you've been listening or attending, which is perfect. Any questions, either about the empathic response or what we are doing today? Okay. Thank you so much for having the courage to heal, because you are about to change your life in a big way. And it may just be one baby step, but that's a big baby step, And congratulations on that. It takes a lot of courage. So let's get started. Most of you already have your cameras off, which is easier for everybody, right? So I'm going to turn mine off, so lessens all distraction. And I'm going to do a couple things so that we can have access to this in multiple ways. All right. So I invite you to just allow yourself to get very comfortable wherever you are. You can lie down for this, or you can recline, or you can sit cross-legged on the floor or in a chair. Just make sure it's a position you don't mind holding for about 20 minutes or so. So it needs to be that comfortable. It helps to close your eyes Just allow your breathing to relax into a rhythm that is unique to you, maybe a little slower than when you're walking or talking. And just inhale slowly and exhale slowly. And continue in that fashion until your breathing is regular and slower without you having to even think about it. And allow yourself to be present in this moment now. Good. I invite you to begin thinking about nature and all the beauty of nature. No matter where we go in the world, there are beautiful places. And nature has such uniqueness in every one of those places. So find one that just really opens your heart and place yourself there. Where you can really begin to appreciate maybe the trees or the plants that are in that particular area. Those that call to you the most, maybe because of their beauty or their color, or maybe there's just something really grounding about them, or something very healing about them. And most of them have the color green, which is nature's healing color. It's the color of rebirth and renewal and regeneration. And if you have a lot of green in your vision, in your inner vision, just really appreciate what that means for you. And most places in nature have a real strong connection to the sky, and maybe to water, maybe not. Maybe you find the color blue in other things like birds or flowers. But blue is the color of angels and the color of peace and tranquility. Just allow that color to help you open your heart even more. You may be aware of other elements in your beautiful place in nature that really help you to feel at one with all things, whether it's the warmth of the sun on your skin, or listening to the unique sounds of that area, whether it's birds or animals or wind, or maybe it's the hush of profound silence. You might even be noticing the unique scents and smells to that area, whether it's flowers or the rich soil or salt air, fresh water, trees. And allow that to open your heart even more. Maybe you've had rich experiences with the wild animals in that place, whether they're birds, they don't have to be scary animals. They could be birds or little chipmunks or squirrels or raccoons, if you have raccoons, or kangaroos. Groundhogs. whatever is normal for that area. Maybe you've had a deep heart-to-heart connection where you just felt like you were communicating together. Or maybe it was an eyeball-to-eyeball connection where you knew there was something going on. You might not have had words for it. Just allow that to open your heart even more. And maybe that reminds you of your domesticated animals that you've had rich relationships with, because all animals are here to teach us unconditional love. And we can certainly feel that through our dogs and our cats and our horses and cattle, but even through our fish and our iguanas and lizards and snakes and all kinds of animals that we have rich experiences with. Just allow yourself to remember the good ones that you have and really allow your heart to open to that. And some of you might have had a beautiful, loving relationship with someone who just loved you so unconditionally it was almost beyond your understanding. That they loved you no matter how cranky you got, or how cross you were, they still loved you. And it was like, hey, here's some love. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you do with it. I still love you. And if you were lucky enough to have that, then just lock that into your heart and allow it to open your heart even more. And here's the thing, when we have all this love in our heart of all the beauty and love that we have experienced, that love just starts growing and growing and drawing in more and more love into our heart until it becomes so full that love overflows and it moves all the way through our body, touching every cell with love. And love is what heals. So already you're receiving some cellular healing just by opening your heart. You may have some awarenesses of where that love goes or how long it might stay, and you may not. Every cell in your body is receiving it and healing from it. Until your entire body is filled with love. And that love then spills over into your energy field, beginning with your physical layer closest to your body, holding your physical experiences mostly from this lifetime. And all of them are receiving healing through love. You may be aware of some of the experiences that are coming up for more healing. You may not. Just allow it to be what it is as each experience is receiving that love and receiving that healing. It can create a very relaxing effect within you. As slowly that layer fills to overflowing, the love moves into your next layer, which is your emotional layer, the place of all emotions. They're all valid, even if we've been taught differently, even if we've been taught not to feel them or to hide them or to not know that they're even there. Don't acknowledge them. You won't feel them then, which is not accurate. Every emotion teaches us something. So they're all valid, and they're all receiving love and healing. And you don't even have to know which ones are being singled out because they're all getting it. And it's all working, which creates further relaxation. And as your emotional layer fills to overflowing, that love moves into the mental layer, which is the place of our belief systems. And many of them we created in this lifetime in order to make sense of our lifetime. But some came in from our past lives where there were things that maybe were unresolved there. And we thought maybe these beliefs were helpful, so we bring them with us, but maybe they don't work in this lifetime. Maybe some of these beliefs came from our ancestors through our DNA and it worked for them, but maybe it's not working for us. Or maybe it never worked for them, but they didn't know differently. So whatever is held here is being touched with love and healed. So if it's not working for you, it's simply getting a replacement, an upgrade of a belief that works better. And you don't have to know what it is right now. You'll know it when you experience it. Because these are deeply buried in our subconscious. We don't even know we're operating from them. But that's the beauty of love. It goes wherever it's needed and it heals. And as this layer fills to overflowing, last, the love moves into your spiritual layer, which is a very vast, large area because it's holding your soul's purpose throughout all lifetimes, including this one, because we just get better at it every time. And it holds all of our past life experiences and all of our ancestors' experiences, and it's all intertwined into our lifetime here. We don't even realize we're acting and reacting from all of that. So allow a lot of love and a lot of healing here for whatever needs it, so that you can start to attract more of what you choose and less of what you don't. Until you're finally in this giant sphere of love. And you are right in the center of it, right in the core. Feeling that, knowing that, being that. And if you did nothing else but this, you're starting your healing journey already, easily and with love. And it's from this place that we ask for those helpers who are of the highest and best, that topmost part of the pyramid of energy. We ask for their help. And when they come, we know that they'll bring our highest and best, whatever that is, even if it's not what we think it should be. And when they come, you may see them with your inner eyesight. You may see a form, you may see a color, you may see sacred geometry, you may see handwriting, you may see a lot of different things. Or maybe you're not a visual person. I'm not. I hear things. I hear conversations. I hear words. But not everybody hears things either. Some people are feelers or knowers, where you don't have that confirmation, but you just know it. You just know it. Or you're just feeling it. And it's about trusting what you know and trusting what you feel. Sometimes our helpers will come in a way that we go, oh, I know who you are. Yeah, you're my guardian angel. I've worked with you forever. Others, maybe it's brand new to you. And maybe they don't want to be limited by a name, because that's what names do. They limit us to that energy. So they may not give you a name, but if your heart feels good, trust that. Here for your highest and best, and here to deliver your highest and best. You'll feel a wave of loving energy from your helpers. That's a good way to know that you're in the right place. That loving energy comes directly from their heart into your heart, and it's palpable. Just allow yourself to feel that and receive that. This is like the beginning of a communication with you and the divine. And when you're ready, you can send love right back from your heart to their heart, kind of furthering the communication without words. Just establishes that way of connecting in a way that builds trust and confidence for your highest and best. And now your helpers are going to be helping you in whatever way is right for you. And so just allow it to be what it is for you, as I'll be very quiet. taking another minute to help you integrate all that has transpired so far. And even if your healing is not complete at this time, your helpers have assured me that you can begin to bring yourself back into your body if you'd like to. Or you can stay in your happy place for as long as you like. And if you'd like to stay in your happy place longer, just leave the meeting at this time. And if you'd like to bring yourself back into your body and back into your room, this is an opportunity to just come back together and share if you'd like, or listen to the sharing. Totally up to you. Just gently bringing your awareness back from the deep place where you've been, allowing the integration to continue on its own. Feeling the peace and the relaxation that comes with healing, especially healing from love. And if you'd like to, you can put something in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and say something, or you can just listen. Wonderful. Sharing in the chat, living light I am, spiral of energy moves through, unwinding old stress and patterns. Thank you, angels and beloved Phoenix. Thank you. Isn't that wonderful? Good. Well, just know that if you need a nap, it's really good to give yourself like a 10-minute power nap, because that helps to integrate things a little more deeply and more like clearly for you. And if there are things that come up and you don't know what to do with them, you know you can email me, you can get in touch with me, let me know how I can help support your healing. Be happy to, respond to your emails. Now wait just another minute or two to see if anybody else wants to share. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Peaceful, quiet, simple, lovely, and subtle. Awesome. And love to you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for having the courage to say yes to healing. And as you go about your day, know that you are also helping to heal the planet as a result of what you are doing today. Isn't that a beautiful gift that keeps giving? Namaste, everyone. Love to you.